my god guys, iBond's annualized return has just jumped from 7.12% all the way to a whopping, wait for it, 9.62% with the new May reset. iBond to the moon! And many economists say that we may never see a rate this high again. So what does this mean for individual investors like you and me? My simple answer to that is buy and buy now. So in today's video, we're gonna go over why you should get an iBond, and most importantly, how you can purchase an iBond step by step through the Treasury Direct website. Specifically, I'll go over 3 things. How to create an account online, how to get your account verified in person if it didn't go through right away, and how to purchase a 10K iBond, assuming you're trying to max out that 10K annual limit. Without further ado, let's get right into it. Wait, before I get into that, let me just quickly explain in simple terms what is an iBond. So an iBond is a short form for US Series I savings bond, which is a government-backed security that everyone like you and me can purchase. So it works like this, okay? Let's say you invest $10,000 to purchase this iBond, and that $10,000 is called the principal or your initial investment. And every 6 months, you can get an interest on that initial investment of yours. And that interest is made up of 2 things, a fixed rate and a variable rate. So the fixed rate right now is currently at 0, so you can pretty much ignore it. But that variable rate is actually inflation adjusted, which means if the inflation is high, just like the environment we're in right now, that means this variable rate will also be high, reflecting that inflation. So the CPI, or the Consumer Price Index, has recently reported in March our inflation rate grew by 8.5% compared to the same period last year. Even though the main number for iBond hasn't been officially published, some expert was able to back out this new rate at 9.62% based on this latest CPI data. But unlike a savings account, iBond has a 30-year term, and it is only redeemable after holding it for at least 1 year. And if you redeem it between year 1 and year 5, there's actually a 3-month interest penalty. But there's actually a strategy to reduce that penalty from 3 months to 2 months and a couple of days, which I'll cover in another future video of mine. So make sure you subscribe. One great thing about iBond is that there's actually a lot of tax benefit that comes with owning an iBond, because income tax only applies an iBond on a federal level, not on a state level. And you can choose to pay these taxes either every year or defer it when you choose to sell the bond. And the best part is that you may even be able to get your interest excluded if you pay for higher education expenses. So iBond has a 10K limit for electronic bond, and you can purchase an additional 5K for paper bond, and that limit is based on a calendar year. To me, iBond is really a no-brainer investment given the current record high rate, because number 1, it can protect yourself against inflation, and number 2, it has lots of tax advantages, and number 3, it has a limit. Because you know I'm a firm believer of everything has a limit for a reason. The Roth IRA has a 6K limit, the HSA has a 7.3K limit, and even Costco limits 2 toilet paper per person when COVID hits. So don't think too much on this, guys. Just trust me on this. Try to max it out if you can. The reason why I recommend you guys to buy iBond now versus later in May is because the 7.12% is already a great rate. And if we assume the interest rate will eventually go down below 7.12%. The earlier we can lock it in, the better it is. If you've enjoyed this video so far, don't forget to hit that like button, because it's really gonna help me out with the YouTube algorithm. With that said, let's move on to teaching you how to purchase an electronic iBond. But do leave me a comment if you're also interested in learning how to purchase a paper iBond. Alright guys, let's move on to the next part. Step number 1 is to create a Treasury Direct account. So you want to head to treasurydirect.gov and click on the open account link on the top right corner where you want to open an individual account. Click on apply now. So there are a couple options. You can do individual, business, or estate. And then here you want to enter your personal information. Just make sure you put the correct social security number or the tax identification number, as well as the correct bank address. Because from what I've heard, if you enter any of those information wrong, there's actually a lot of paperwork that needs to be done in order for you to fix that. Now it comes to our step number 2, which is how to get your account verified in person if your registration didn't get approved right away. You can skip this step if your registration was successful, but if you're unlucky like me, you might get an email like this saying that we're having difficulty verifying information you provided with opening an account. And in order to resolve that, you need to sending and complete this account authorization form. From what I've heard, this happens randomly and actually happens fairly often. So this is the form 5444 that you will need to fill out. Super important here that do not sign this do not sign this form yet, because you will need to sign this form in front of the verification or the certifying officer. So here's my experience to find a bank or broker that was willing to take that certification stamp, which is also known as the medallion stamp. Something to point out is that not every clerk is familiar with this process. So here is a script that I put together that you can use in explaining what you're trying to do with this account verification.
Hi, I need a medallion stamp for Treasury Direct form trying to certify. Do you know who would be the right person?
As you can see, I was not successful at Chase. I was rejected.
I'm looking for a certifying officer or like a bank manager to help me authorize a Treasury Direct account.
Unfortunately, we don't do that anymore.
And I went to Charles Schwab and I was also not successful there either.
Status on which forms we do. We don't do the medallion stamp for the 5444.
But thankfully, I was successful at Bank of America. So third time a charm, right? To save you time, I've gathered a list of banks and credit unions or brokers based on the data points I've collected from the people around me. Hopefully, it will save you time when you're trying to choose which bank or a broker you're trying to get verification from. Keep in mind that this actually varies branch by branch and sometimes clerk by clerk. So it's really important, number one, to clearly spell out what you need, and then number two, to ask for the branch manager. And because most likely the branch manager is the only person in the entire bank that have the authority to give you that medallion stamp. Yeah, I was personally not successful at the Menlo Park BOA branch, but I was successful at the Palo Alto BOA branch. So if you guys live in the Bay Area, this might be a good option for you to try out first. Also to remember, most likely you will need to have an pre-existing relationship with that bank for them to give you the stamp. But if you don't, be prepared to open a new account with them with 2 pieces of identification. So personally, even though I had a Merrill Edge account, which is their Merrill Lynch trading brokerage platform with BOA, they actually still needed a checking account in order for them to give me that stamp. So I had to open a checking account on the spot, but I didn't mind that because currently they're running a promotion of $300 bonus if you deposit or more direct deposit, if you do a qualified direct deposit of $4,000 more in the first 90 days of account opening. This is not an advertisement. I just truly enjoyed professionalism as well as their speed of execution because I did have trouble with all those other banks that I visited, which I even had a longer relationship with. So kudos BOA. Thanks so much, guys. So, and after getting this stamp, you can put it in the envelope and then mail it to address listed on the form. Based on that email, it will take between 10 to 15 days to get it approved, and then we'll actually notify you via email as well. Also, quick disclaimer, you guys, I'm not a financial advisor, so make sure you vet everything I talked about with your CPA or financial advisor before taking these actions. Alright guys, now you have successfully completed step 1 and 2. Now it's time for us to purchase that bond. Let's quickly come back to the treasurydirect.gov website and click on the Treasury Direct link under account login and press on login. Here you want to enter your account number, which can be found, by the way, in the email they send you. But if you never got an email from Treasury Direct.gov, make sure you check your spam box and add their address into your contacts so it wouldn't get lost in your inbox. And their security is pretty good. You always have to do like a second factor authentication, register. And here you want to enter the passcode that you have set previously. So enter that real quick. Alright guys, now we are on the account homepage. Before I move on, just remember that you can also buy a bond on behalf of your child. That's why you see I have Niall's account also linked right here. So to buy the bond, let's head to the Buy Direct tab and then head on to the Savings Bond section and select Series I. And remember, if you want to purchase paper bond, you actually have to do it when you file a tax return. This is electronic bond only. And click on Submit. And then enter how much you want to purchase. So I'm gonna put in the annual limit, 10K right here. And then this is where you're gonna draw the source of funds from, aka your linked bank account. Just make sure your bank account has at least 10K worth of fund, because if you have less, then your requests are likely to be bounced back or rejected. And then you want to enter when you want to schedule that purchase. Even though I'm filming this video on April 17th, but I'm actually gonna change the purchase date from 17th to 27, which is a Wednesday. A reason being that it's always better to purchase iBond towards the end of months than at the beginning of months, because regardless if you buy at the beginning or the end, you get that full month of interest. I'm choosing 27 because I do want to give a 1 or 2 day business day buffer just in case something didn't go through. So let's click on Submit and make sure you double check all the information here and then click on Submit. Voila! You got a confirmation. So that's it guys. I hope this tutorial is helpful. Alright guys, if you watched till this part of the video, can you do me a favor and comment success down below to let me know? And if you're interested in learning other iBond related or personal finance related topics, make sure you subscribe and like, because in my next video, I will actually cover some top tips when it comes to purchasing your first iBond, including how to get over $10,000 limit per year, what's the best time to buy your iBond, what's the best time to sell your iBond, how to get tax exempt for your iBond, as well as how to turn a paper iBond into an electronic one. So if you're interested in any of those topics, make sure you subscribe and get notified when that new video comes out. Bye guys.